What is up, squad? It is your Squid, aka Julian Luke Santori, the Anxious Squid, here from Anxious Squid Productions, my YouTube channel. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. About 2 months into my living here in America, and like a month, a couple of weeks after my road trip ended, I did a 7 differences between America and Australia video. Today I'm just going to do an updated version of that because it's been about 6 or 7 months now, and I figure I may as well, that was after 2 months, this is after 7. So yeah, let's get into it. First off, straight off the bat, I want to say thank you to everyone, all my subscribers. I have just ticked over 300. I have a Q&A video for you tomorrow or the day after. Leave some questions if you want to in the comment section of this video or any of my videos. I'm going to go through them all and I'll answer those questions in a day or two. But yeah, big thank you to everyone there. Thank you to the 2 or 3 patrons I have. Thank you to the 3 or 4 people that have bought merch. Thank you to all the people that are contemplating it. Thank you to the people years from now watching this going, oh, look at how funny he is back then doing all that, still trying to do that stuff. But yeah, let's get into it, shall we? The number one difference I had last time, I can't even remember what it was, but I remember the video that I was filming on, like the thing that I was filming with, I had it leaning on a toilet while I was sitting in the bathroom because we were in a hotel, we hadn't got the place yet, Shannon and I and Sophia, that is, we hadn't got the place yet, and it was the only room semi with acoustics / away from the kid, so that was being noisy, you know what I mean, and so I had played this music track over the top. And I'm not going to do that this time or anything like that. But yeah, the number one difference for me is toilets, actually. A lot of people don't realise that, like, British toilets, Australian toilets, American toilets, like, even though they're fundamentally the same, they flush differently. Not just in the same, like, in an opposite direction, but the way the water actually, like, it sits, like an American toilet bowl is so much bigger and there is so much more water than an Australian toilet bowl, and it's just, yeah, it's really strange, and it sort of fills up and then goes like a train would back home, or like a toilet on a train, or a toilet on an aeroplane or something like that. It's that suction-y sort of thing, as opposed to Australian toilets that are like flushing from the water from the top and continuously, and it's sort of more an up and down splash than a spiral down the drain splash, like suction. It's weird. Number 2 is bread, right? Which is not something I thought would be even something to be different about anything, but the bread here, you kind of either have to bake your own or go to a specific bakery, like an actual bakery, not the shops, like a grocery shop or anything like that, but go to an independent bakery to get an actual loaf of proper bread. Most of the bread that's in the shops, that I can find anyway, and I suppose I should have prefaced the entire list with, this is from my perspective, so I'm not hanging shit on America, and I'm not comparing the 2 countries for better or like saying that one is better than the other. I'm just pointing out oddities and things that I find quirky, But yeah, the bread it's sweet here, like there's a lot of sugar in the bread, and so it's like a fluffier, smaller, like, I don't know, the bread's a bit weird to me here, and you have to go to an actual bakery to get what I would call normal bread. Number 3 is sports consumption, and this one I think is one that people on my channel will probably have picked up on by now, but like you guys that are watching this have probably been, noticing it through myself, in the fact that Australians, generally speaking, like to participate in sport, from what I've seen, like we've got a very, I can do that too sort of mentality, as to people from New Zealand as well, I think. There's a Jacob McDonald, I think, is a guy that somebody suggested I watch, and I've watched a couple of his videos, and he's a funny dude. But yeah, it's people are very focused on playing sport back home in Australia, but it's a line you'll get all the time at a bar or at a pub or something like that is somebody will be like, oh yeah, I don't really watch that, it's fun to play, but it's boring to watch or whatever. And whereas here it's the other way around. In America, not a lot of people play. There aren't a lot of there are beer leagues and like open men's leagues for all sorts of different sports. I'm going to a meeting in a couple of days to talk about potentially playing outdoor ice hockey or just hockey for my American viewers, which could be really cool. I haven't skated since I was a kid. Wow, that's a bug that just flew in the window. Anyway, I haven't skated since I was a kid, so I'm not sure that I'll be able to do it, but it'll be nice to give it a crack, and it's going to get icy outside and stuff, so I'm going to give that a crack. But yeah, watching sport here in America is so much more intense than anywhere else. I'm sure a dude at the Bills game this weekend broke his neck. I wasn't there at the tailgate, but I saw a thing from the tailgate where he jumped over it. Anyway, people are nuts about watching sports here in America, like high school football, sports, to college sports. College football's nearly as big as actual professional league football. I watched 2 games of college football this weekend, in fact, and only 1 game of the NFL. It was really funny. I was watching the Bills and the Vikings were on at the same time. They weren't playing each other, but I was like, yeah, I'll go and watch the Vikings. I'll give that a crack because it's a purple team, Vikings. I reckon that could be kind of cool. I'm trying to spread out who I watch, and I just kept having this nagging feeling of, I wonder how the Bills are doing, and I had to flick back over to the Bills. So I think the Bills are sort of grabbing me, but I will, I'll see. I'm still not definitive about picking a team, but yeah, it's real focused on watching and supporting your teams here in American sports, and I like it a lot because there's not really that much interest, It's back home. There is interest. Everyone has a team, but you're not going to get people being like, yeah, I'm going to the game and I'm going to go hang out with my mates outside the stadium for a couple of hours beforehand as well. It's not a thing that happens as much in Australia. Number 4, shifting straight, in a 180 sort of thing from sports, checks, right? So as in from a bank. I hadn't ever seen a checkbook, or I hadn't seen a checkbook in at least 20 years, since I was a kid, back home in Australia. People just use their card. It's a pay pass or a swipe, almost nowhere accepts checks in Australia. And in America, I've been doing jobs here and there and all that sort of stuff, and every single person that ever offers to pay anything for any odd job or anything like that, they offer to pay in check. And I'm like, no, that's it. No, I'm not waiting for a check to clear. What are you doing? Just give me money. But yeah, it's interesting. I didn't even realize checks were still a thing that could be used. And maybe it's because the population's so big. Maybe it's just because you guys are like, it is as rare, but I've just been talking with cheapskates. I don't know. Who knows? But checks, I didn't realize I'd be dealing with checks as much as I am now. Number 5 is religion. And music as well, so to speak, but religion specifically. Maybe it's an identity thing, actually. Maybe it's not religion specifically, because the music does play into it. But back home in Australia, I wouldn't know if anyone on my street or anyone that I worked with or anyone in my football team was religious. And that's not to say no one is. There are very religious people in Australia, and there are lots of very different religions in Australia, but it's not something that you talk about, It's, I was saying to Shannon the other day, and I think at the risk of sounding offensive, and I do want to preface this with, I don't agree with how the LGBTQIA plus community are treated, broadly speaking, but religion is treated in Australia in the same way that community is treated here in America, nowadays. It's you have all your legal rights and your freedoms, but just, can you not do it in front of my face, And that seems to generally be the thought process in America around that community. And it also is about religion in Australia, because it's but whereas here in America, and this might just be because of the particular community that I'm in and the particular people that I know and all that sort of stuff. But it seems like people wear their religion on their chest, and it's like a badge of honor. I'm a this, I'm a that, and it forms part of their identity, And people talk about religion a lot more, and God, if there is one, the God that people refer to specifically in America is it's a very, there's a space held for him/her, it. them, and it's just not a space that's held in regular conversation back home in Australia, if that makes sense. So it's taken some getting used to in that regard. And I mean, I suppose you could chuck in swearing on that one as well, because it's a lot of people who are religious don't like the C-bomb, don't like me swearing in general, and it's like, it's just words. And in Australia, maybe we're a little uncouth. I don't know. Maybe that's just it. But yeah, religion, music, and swearing all in the same thing. I'll probably put it as identity on the Squid. But yeah, I think that it's the way people form themselves is different fundamentally. Number 6, cashiers, right? And that sort of plays into number 5 as well. In the last video that I did about the 7 differences between America and Australia, I spoke about how cashiers weren't as friendly if you saw them a few times, and if you got on personable terms with them and stuff. And let me tell you, I'm pretty sure I can just completely write that off. I was wrong about that, okay? And that's because they're hard and nuts to crack, because Americans are far more individualistic than collectivist, right? But 7-Eleven near where we live now, right? We've been living here for, I can't remember how long, but long enough that I go to that same 7-Eleven every time, right? And there's this particular homeless dude that lives, just nearby the 7-Eleven / also near our house, but not near enough to either for it to generally be a big problem all the time. You'll see him once a week or something. And he's a nice enough bloke. I've had chats with him. I've bought him Tim Hortons. It's a thing. He's a nice guy. But he was really drunk one night and he was hassling the 7-Eleven employees, and I just also happened to be there, so I was like, yo buddy, best you move on, and that event happening sort of thing, it really emboldened our not friendship, so to speak, but our bond, the 7-Eleven employees and mine. And literally now, as where before they wouldn't smile or return a yeah, how you going mate, or something like that, it'd just be like, yeah, transactional. Now it's over the top, oh hey man, how you doing, and he's back as I walk back in the 7-Eleven and stuff like that, giving me the occasional wing for free if I'm buying other wings and stuff, chucking extras in, and over the top niceness that I wouldn't have been used to or expect or anything like that, you know what I mean? So it's it's gone the other way now from what I had said in the other video. So maybe I just need to loosen up a bit, who knows. And speaking of, again, that sort of leads into number 7 as well, which is, I can't go past it, even this long later, food here. The food here is amazing, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it doesn't taste good, I'm not saying I don't appreciate it and it's not amazing, but I have to have a conscious effort to make myself healthy, and the portion sizes here are ridiculous. There is so much food, and it doesn't matter if we will order 15 wings from a place, in Buffalo, and we will get 25 in every order, and they will be amazing, and they're huge, and they're delicious. But there's a real thing in America here of giving you 3 persons worth of food when you pay for 1 person's worth of food. And I don't know if that's a thing to try and get people to come back, or if it's because people expect it, or if it's I don't know. But the portion sizes are a lot bigger here when you eat out, or when you just buy from the shops, I would say that our grocery shops back home, every time I grocery shop here in Niagara Falls, it feels like I'm buying in bulk compared to what I was buying back home, if that makes sense. You're not buying 4 hot dog rolls in a packet or anything. You're buying 8. You're not buying, or you're not buying 8. You're buying 12. And it's you're not buying the short little small things. You're buying in a bigger amount, and it helps us, I guess, because we have to do it less, and we can freeze stuff and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's different, But yeah, that's the 7 differences between America and Australia. Small ones from my perspective anyway. I'm sure there are loads of others. Let me know in the comments section below what you think. I was going to include the differences between baseball and cricket and hitting a ball, but I haven't yet hit up a batting cage. The plan is to do that though. I've been playing cricket since I was a kid. I'm 28 years old now. I've literally been playing since I was 4 or 5 years old every year. So I've got over 20 years worth of cricketing. I'm not brilliant, don't get me wrong. I'm not good. I never played at some elite level or anything. I've just, I would say I am better than most people, but there are a lot of people better than me as well, if that makes sense. You know, at the same time. And yeah, I'm going to hit up a batting cage this week at some point. I'm going to take this camera with me and I'm going to film it and I'm going to see how I go and I'll tell you what I think. My initial thoughts on the difference between a batting cage and hitting a baseball and a cricket ball would be that it's all a full toss with a baseball, so I'm not having to worry about it like divert off the ground or cut or anything like that, cut or spin or anything like that. So it's probably going to be a bit quicker because it's coming at me on the full, so it's not going to have that bounce and sit sort of thing, but it's also, I'm not going to have to worry about it moving as much because it's not going to move off the ground or divert, but I am anticipating I could be wrong about the movement because the stitching of a baseball is far different to the just straight one line stitching of a cricket ball, so that might throw in some you know, curveballs as a accidental way of saying that. But anyway, I've spoken too much already. That video will be ready next week, so if you are watching this later on, hit subscribe, poke around my channel, see if you like it. Some people have spoken about my setup and the different things I do for the reaction videos. Leave some questions in the comments below and I will answer them in my next question and answer, and I will answer that question too. So I'm gonna shut up now.